Welcome to the Programmatic Digest podcast, a weekly roundup of top programmatic news with fellow programmatic ninjas. I'm your host, Ellen Parker, your very own programmatic sensei. Thank you for joining us today. Before we get into today's conversation, subscribe, like, and share. Leave us a comment. If you need any more details, visit our website, programmaticdigest.com, programmaticdigest.com, where you'll be prompted for our new weekly or monthly newsletter. It only alerts you when there's a new episode live. So thank you so much for all your support and love, and remember to be curious. Enjoy the conversation. Hi, Arthur. How are you doing today?
Hi, Ellen. I'm very good. Thank you.
Welcome to what I call the Sensei's Corner, which is where we get to discuss topic about our fabulous industry. And today's episode, I'm particularly excited to chat with you because you have built quite a few startups in our programmatic and digital media realm, right? And but you're currently servicing European market, correct?
Correct.
Cool. So before we get too much into it, how about you give us a quick introduction about who you are, what you do now, and maybe how you got to where you are?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Arthur Querou. I'm the CEO and co-founder of KMTX. At KMTX, we're basically a real ad tech company, and we're trying as much as possible to abstract the complexity of programmatic through pretty cool tech and technology around automation, semantic data, and everything that can basically help campaign managers and media traders to get better performance and do their work more easily than what they currently how they currently do it. So in the past, I founded indeed a couple of companies that I exited, and the last one was called Motion Lead. We were actually the first French company to go through the Y Combinator in the US, and we were building technology that allowed advertisers to create interactive and animated ads on mobile, especially when HTML5 was not powerful enough to create some cool rich media ads. So you needed something like in the deeper level of the devices. So you needed like tech to do that. Now it's less necessary. And we got acquired by a company called Addictive that is now a app re-engagement company. And they didn't have any like mobile offering or anything like that. And so they acquired us to create that offer. And I'm there right now, and we're working on KMTX with a mission of actually creating the ad platform of the open web. And maybe I'll be able to go more deeply into that later. But I was just like super frustrated about like the programmatic like state, because I mean, as a teenager, young adult, like I always had like, all these side projects, and I was running ads on Google ads and Facebook ads. And when I heard about the like programmatic and open web market, I was like super excited, and genuinely like I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to be able to do like some pretty cool stuff, like maybe even extract some data, like even build some algorithm, but at least like do something as exciting and as cool as what you can do in Google and Facebook. And I was like super disappointed. Like,
why?
I mean, come on, the user experience is just so bad. Like any DSP on the market, just like so bad. Everything is so complex. And you know how ad tech is always making everything more complex?
Yeah,
when we should be everything more simple. But we should make it more simple for advertisers. Like that's nonsense. And the way we're heading right now is like getting worse and worse. And that's kind of what we're fighting right now. Like it's not normal that as an advertiser, if you want to like advertise on like any website, like like premium website, like the New York Times, you have to go through so many complex things when you just want to run an ad on the New York Times. You don't need a DSP, a DMP, an ad server, an ad verification system. You should not need all of that. Like, and that's kind of like my mission and the mission that we have at KMTX is making everything more simple and more efficient, because guess who is simple and efficient? The walled gardens. And that's who we're going to fight.
Gotcha. Okay. So you are creating you've created a platform already that allows an
Yep.
advertiser or an agency, or
Yep.
you're also working with, or an agency to very simplify the where they're buying media. And it's
Yeah,
still considered
exactly.
programmatic media because they're utilizing that ad tech that you've now created.
Indeed. So we've
Gotcha.
built not only a DSP, I don't like to call that a DSP, we've
Gotcha. Okay.
built more of a full buying, like ad buying stack.
Okay. Okay.
And that allows indeed to like simply run ads, run campaigns and deliver performance over programmatic over the open web and open RTB. And agencies, mostly agencies, the advertisers, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
through the agencies are using us at the very beginning for pure performance campaign or lead and this kind of thing. And now we address kind of any problematic, whether it be like performance, of course, but as well as branding as well. Because like branding, when you think about it,
Mm-hmm.
kind of a performance like mindset of way of buying. It's just like the KPIs are different. But if you want to conceal like viewability and brand uplift and like brand safety and all these kind of thing at a reasonable cost, like it's a pretty complex equation.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So we've simplified things for your clients. So that leads into that's a great segue into what we're going to talk about today. I am located in the US, so I'm very familiar with the US market, North American market to be specific, which include Canada and Mexico and a few other countries, but not very familiar with the European market. So I was telling you before we started recording that that is a goal of mine, attracting but also interviewing guests that are outside of the US borders that maybe are familiar with the US market, but are doing their thing in their own market. So you're killing the game in the French and English market, right?
Indeed.
Okay. So talk to us about if you had to tell anyone, oh, here in the US, for instance, here in the US, the big topic of conversation was Apple release of 14.5 iOS release. Another very hot topic, not as sexy, is the cookie deprecation from Google. And then, of course, connected TV. Connected TV. Those three topics, I feel every time I go online, media posts, ad exchanger, any type of news resources in our industry, that's like every other article would hit those three, at least every other article. Now, there's a lot going on in our industry outside of those three. So, can you recap in similar ways what's happening in your market again, which is France, the UK, and actually you said European
Yeah,
Union,
yeah, we
right?
are starting to expand more and more in the
Perfect. Okay.
in Europe. So yeah, the first thing to understand of like about the European market is
Mm-hmm.
like, for example, like if in the US, like every state had like its own like specificities, and it's very high. It's highly fragmented. So,
Uh-huh.
for example, you'll see that in Germany, publishers are leading the market. They are
Oh,
the market
gotcha.
makers.
Oh, okay.
In the UK, they're like very much turned toward self-serve offers. Obviously, they have kind of advanced in that. In more Latin countries such as like Spain, Italy, and France, will be like there's still like a lot that's being done to manage service because we used to have strong networks in those countries, and therefore networks have kind of a historical record of being highly performant over like Programmatic and these kind of things. So yeah, it's highly fragmented and kind of every country has its own specificities. I could definitely not talk like much into details about the Nordics, for example, but I know they are as well highly specific. So that kind of makes it hard to navigate. I would say if you are like more into that, and even if you are European, like as a French person, obviously, like the like Germany can be pretty surprising because like you go there and thinking like, oh, my offer will like resonate to them, and you're like, okay, so not at all because publishers rule the game there. So it's
Got it. Okay. Okay. Okay.
it's highly different. So each market has its
Very
own
interesting.
specificities, and you really have to understand them really well if you want to succeed like globally in Europe. regarding the topics that we're talking a lot about, obviously, like cookies and IDFAs are like a very, very hot topic. If you ask me, it's like, especially the cookie one, it's a pretty boring subject because like nobody has much to bring on the table. Like everybody is like starting to become some kind of like semantic genius, like contextual genius, like out from nowhere. And it's not very surprising because like targeting keywords, like sorry to say that, but just like super simple. What's super hard is like having keyword and semantic intelligence to like do some good targetings. And nobody's talking about that, by the way. But yeah, and there are a lot of alternatives, and it's always the same. Like it's the market like trying to scare advertisers like with all these problems. But I mean, it's very egocentric. Like advertisers shouldn't and don't have to care about that. Like that's your problem at tech. I don't want to hear about that. I just want performance as an advertiser, and we should not be like talking so much about this kind of thing. CTV is much more interesting. Yeah,
sorry,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, so it doesn't seem like. So you're saying it's a boring, a boring topic. Okay, I can understand why it's a boring topic because again, everybody keeps talking about it. Here in the US,
and there's nothing new on the table. Like there's been nothing new on the table for 2 years.
We shouldn't have been using cookies like that in the first place anyway. So now that we've had so much control, accidental control over that strategy, we're freaking out. Like some of the industry's freaking out.
And there is no alternative that's really actionable right now. Like they're promising stuff like IDs and even like Flock and the privacy sandbox is interesting, fingerprinting, all this kind of thing. But like most of it is like not usable right now. Like so, like everything is theory. Like we're just talking about stuff that might or might not happen, and that's not helping anyone.
Right. Well, we have some initiatives like Pre-Bid is coming up with.
Yeah.
The Trade Desk was working on initiative with the Unified ID 2.0. I don't know if the Washington Post is international.
But again, like all of that is theory. It's still theory. Like a lot of things will come, like and will definitely be usable. But like let's see it in action before like getting all freaky about it.
That's why on my last episode, one of the last episodes, I don't know when. So couple episodes ago, I had a young lady, Rennie, and she works for Digitas North America, and she told us about a campaign she was testing, and they were testing it with LiveRamp identity links, and then they're still testing the third-party cookie. And so they ran it first quarter. Now they're running it again second quarter, April to June. So she'll come back and let us know what happened. But as an initial. So her first initial insights were that it's working well enough at the time. And now they used they used first quarter into second quarter, which is great. Like this is how you're supposed to do. You learn from your learnings of Q1, you implement in Q2. So we'll have her back, and I'm curious to know like your insight once I get those insights.
But like I would really
it's still
not be scared. It's a lot of work. It's still a lot of work. It's our job to figure it out so that agencies and like brands, advertisers can focus on like their campaigns. But I would really not be worried. Like between like textual IDs, fingerprinting, privacy sandbox, and like future solution that will come up, like we'll still be able to target. Maybe with less precision, but did we need like that granular precision? Like I'm really not sure about that. Like you might lose like 10, 15% of performance, but like in the end, that doesn't change anything. You're still getting traffic, you're still getting sales. So, and you'll still be able to operate like smart strategies for your campaign. So but we like to talk about that. and then CTV is kind of a very special thing, especially in France, since like CTV is like really, really late compared to especially the UK or the US, since like legally been made very slow to progress for a very, very long time. Actually, the TV feed on like linear TV had to be the same for everyone. It was like a legal thing, and now like it's getting more and more flexible around that, and things are popping up like different like services that do connected TV and those kind of thing. But it's not yet like in people's mind, and the consumers still like turn on their TV and watch classic TV a lot. So it's less advanced than in the US or in the UK.
Gotcha. So let's pivot a little bit because I do want to talk about GDPR before we close, right? So we don't have the same laws and regulation here. That's why I think iOS 14 was just like a what? But I consider the EU like the European Union. Yeah, I consider the EU. Sometimes, like in French, we say UE. So I'll say that in a meeting, and everybody's like, "What is UE?" I'm like, "Oh, ESL moment, guys. English as a second language moment." Okay, so you guys have GDPR. It came out maybe 2-3 years ago. Yep. So can you tell us like how things are now that GDPR has been maybe tested or implemented, I would say, and from where it was maybe 2 years ago? Because we're late in the game. We have the California Act, but I don't think is as maybe intense or as detailed as GDPR.
Yep. So at KMTX was very special because we were in research and development phase when GDPR came out. So like we never operated before GDPR.
Interesting.
All in all, it's been like there's been a lot of noise around this. I think it forced the market to be more responsible when it comes to like consent collection regarding data and this kind of thing, and the way you process the data, the way you transfer it between companies, which in the end is a pretty good thing. Like, to be honest, like it didn't change anything in terms of like the reach that we have. Yeah, it probably reduced a bit, but it's kind of the same story like over and over again with the cookies, like with the disappearance of the cookies. Like, yeah, it changed things. It changed the way we work. It made us more responsible, but it didn't make us like less efficient and didn't make the market less efficient. So yeah, it's just like it probably makes it harder for like very small independent tech companies to launch because like it's a kind of a heavy legal framework. But yeah, it didn't change like much, to be honest.
So okay, so what about
what is changed though is that advertisers especially have less data to monitor, and therefore like the visit rates that can be measured on their website is dropping quite a lot, has dropped quite a lot over the past few years because like the regulations evolved to make it more and more strict, and that I would say makes it harder for like brands especially to like measure well the ROI of their campaigns. Even though they know that like they collect data and they get traffic, but still the part that they can measure is like smaller.
So it hasn't like refrained or stopped anybody from measuring any type of data. It's just the reach may have reduced because now people are able to say no. Or
exactly. But
control how their data is tracked. Yeah.
I mean, like not as much as I personally would like because like it's still like kind of obscure and opaque for the end users. But like a lot of people were saying like GDPR is going to kill like data brokers or this kind of thing. They're still there. Like their valuation doubled, maybe more. Like everything's fine for them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's why I said every time a guest comes, I always say that, I mean, we are really great at being early adopters. But what we should be is proactors. We should be proactive about the situation, not just reactive. So I think that's what's happening with the cookie deprecation and even with like the California regulation law. I think the industry is just like, oh, it's coming, but yeah, it'll get there. And And that's why now we're like, oh, shoot, Google is not even going to provide a solution. They got us like in this sandbox. So I think it's really interesting. I'm a pretty optimistic person. So I'm seeing the glass halfway full. But it seems like it's not going to be that bad, especially with GDPR. For instance, for some of the privacy laws that we're going through, some states here are going or attacking some of the ad tech, more the wall garden like Google or Facebook. So I find it very interesting that these are coming up. But I think the market that you're operating in is very different, but I think it's advanced. Even if you just say, oh, CTV, we're not there yet. As a whole, as an industry, it definitely seems like it's almost like beyond certain problems. Like we're very focused on privacy here, but it's accidental, I feel. It's accidental because somebody got mad and said, I don't want any more ads. But at the end of the day, is that, okay, we're not going to track you as intensely as you want. We're going to give you your privacy. Now you have control over who can measure or track your online behavior and who cannot. But you're going to start seeing some really ugly advertising. Like this is, I just heard on Clubhouse the other day, somebody said, I think it was Angelina from IB. She said she doesn't like when somebody says programmatic can give you personalized advertising because it's just creepy. It's creepy. Don't say that, but it should be relevant enough. So it should be a relevant message. And that's what we do. That's what we try to do. So I'm glad that KMTX is killing the game and leading in terms of that. So is there anything you like, before we move into the closing segment, is there anything you're thinking, like any projections for the next maybe 2 years, 5 years? What are you saying?
Yeah, definitely. I would say the one of the next like big earthquake in our industry after the cookies and I would say identifiers and that new era of identity online. I think the next chapter will be probably like antitrust actions against the walled gardens. Like,
gotcha.
It's definitely coming. Like there are too many things that they're doing. They were already like on the radar, and now like with what they're doing, like come on, like that can't stay like for too long anymore like that. So that will definitely be a shakeup. And yeah, and I really think as well that the one of the big word that will be in everyone's mouth will be simplification. That's why we're working on that. And I'm kind of like talking for us as well, but I really do believe that simplification of the value chain of like the programmatic ecosystem will be a big thing. Like there are too many things that are like not normal, way too complex. Like everybody's getting excited about connected TV, yet there isn't a single platform that allows you to just target a TV show and just do that. Like how comes? How comes it's like so complex? Like it should not be like that complex. And many advertisers are getting frustrated by that, especially since they have tried to in-house their programmatic operations.
Yeah.
And everybody is forgetting about the brands of tomorrow, the D2C brand, like those kind of cool new startups. Yeah. And these people, they were raised like with Google ads and Facebook ads, just as I was, and they will never use like DSP, DMP, blah, blah, blah stack. Like they don't want that. They don't want to commit with like solutions they don't get anything about. Like they just want something that works, simple to operate, and delivers performance. And I really think that's the way the market will have to take in, I would say, the coming like 3 to 5 years.
That's exciting. Well, we have so much more questions about what you do, but let's go ahead and close. So my one last question, it's more on a personal level. So tell us 3 fun things about yourself.
3 fun things. So yeah, I got a cease and desist when I was a teenager from Twitter to stop my spam bot network. I was sending around like 200,000 messages on Twitter.
For what?
So what I was in high school.
Oh, wow.
Like I was, yeah, I was like sending affiliate links to everybody basically who would speak about Justin Bieber. So they gently asked me to stop. So I stopped. That was one.
So I
I had
stopped.
the I had the most popular app in Singapore for some time, like with
Nice.
like 5% or something like that of the population there that had the app, but I never went then at the time. But now it's one of my favorite country though. But yeah, at that time,
Singapore.
like didn't know the country at all. And the last one, out of randomness, I've always been a fan of rap music. And out of randomness and random encounters, I ended up in that like sphere in the French rap ecosystem, which is actually pretty fun. Made a lot of friends there.
In the French, which system?
French rap ecosystem,
Oh, rap.
rap
Okay,
music.
so you
Yeah, rap
were
music.
Justin Bieber's, well, I'm gonna say Loki first PR, most popular app in Singapore. Which app was that? Did you tell us the name of the app or?
It was called Meme Reader, which was basically an infinite feed of funny images.
Now we have that in Facebook. And then the last one was wannabe rapper. Those are really
Not wannabe
cool.
rapper, but like rap industry insider.
Gotcha.
If you want to call it this way.
I love it. This is so much fun. This is so cool. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you and I will be talking again. We're going to do a French version of an episode, similar episode. So for our European and French listeners and speakers, stay tuned because Arthur is going to come back and we're going to kill the game again. So thank you so much for stopping by. And if anyone wants to reach out to you, how should they do that?
Arthur@KMTX.com.
That's it. Arthur@KMTX.com. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your love and support. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you have any questions, feedback, or just simply want to say hi, email us at info@programmaticdigest.com. You can also visit the website programmaticdigest.com, where we're always looking for guest hosts. We're also looking for sponsors. So hit us up if you're interested.